So I was perusing the Mega Man knowledge base, as you do, trying to brush up on stuff regarding the various Mega Man manga. Mega Man has had quite a few releases here and there, from adaptations of the game's stories to the incredible Rockman Megamix series by Hitoshi Ariga, and I recently got way into researching this stuff. I think it's because I was having trouble finding any more information about these stories than what's already on the Mega Man wiki, which only made them seem more enigmatic and mysterious. I just had to know more. Like, a frustrating amount of my serial numbers video was just spent researching this stuff. I spent so much time trying to find raw, untranslated scans and alternate releases for some of these books, just so that I could verify that the info I was saying was accurate. I ended up buying physical copies of Rockman Megamix's initial release from 1997, just so I could be 100% sure that this page originally said DRWN and not DWN, before I eventually found raw scans on the internet to use instead. Oh well, at least they look cool. I like having them, I don't feel bad. I eventually want to do a video for the channel talking about all the different manga releases for the Mega Man series and some of the confusing history that comes with it, which is why I was scrolling through the Mega Man wiki to begin with, where I eventually found my way to the page for Comic Bomb. Comic Bomb was a monthly Japanese children's magazine that ran from 1981 to 2007. It published stories based on popular franchises such as Mario, Gundam, and most importantly, Mega Man. Most importantly to me anyways. There were a lot of Mega Man stories published in Comic Bomb, a lot of which were later republished into their own dedicated tankobon, basically a bunch of stories that were all initially released in separate books, collected into one compilation. The Mega Man wiki very graciously lists all the Comic Bomb Mega Man stories that were later given standalone releases, and links to their own dedicated wiki pages. But what really caught my eye was the section at the bottom, which listed all of the stories that didn't get re-releases. 3 stories which were only published in Comic Bomb and nothing else. Rockman World 5, Rockman Future Planet Voldos, and Rockman X Team X. These stories were all written by the same author, Daisuke Inoue. Later I would learn that Daisuke Inoue is also the name of the man who invented the karaoke machine. This is just a weird coincidence, these are 2 different men. Curious, I searched up Daisuke Inoue Mega Man on a manga site and 5 results came up. 5 different results. The 3 I just mentioned and 2 more. Rockman Soccer and Rockman Deadly Struggle on Mu. The Rockman Soccer story was a one-shot manga which wasn't published in Comic Bomb but was instead included in some Japanese strategy guide for the game, which explains why it wasn't listed on the Comic Bomb wiki page. But Rockman Deadly Struggle on Mu was published in Comic Bomb. From what I can find, it was included in Comic Bomb's 1994 Spring Vacation Jumbo Special Edition, so there's no reason for this story to not be included with the others. And that's why I'm talking about it today. Not to raise awareness or shame the Mega Man knowledge base or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about it because it has a funny name, and also because it's Mega Man history that's so obscure that it's not mentioned anywhere on the wiki, and I want to be the first to plant down my YouTuber flag. So here we go! For starters, let's talk about that title, Rockman Mu Tairiku Shitou Hen, which roughly translates to Mega Man Mu Continent Death Battle Story Arc, though the fan translation I'm reading is titled as Mega Man The Deadly Struggle on Mu Arc, so I'll just use that name instead. Except the actual pages of the manga instead call it Mega Man Saga of Mortal Kombat on the Mu Continent. And now I have a headache. Also, yeah, I'm reading a fan translation. Kind of have to, considering the story was likely only ever released in Japan and I can't read Japanese. Although being able to read Japanese wouldn't even help, because no matter what I do, I can't find any raw, untranslated scans. And I can't find anywhere to buy Comic Bomb 1994 Spring Vacation Jumbo Special Edition either, so I'm completely out of options. So, the translation I'm reading is courtesy of a group called Rockman Tanjo, but I can't find any information on them. There's an added credit for a website which is a dead link. Googling Rockman Tanjo gets you another Blogspot site, which only has 1 post from 2021 and nothing else. You also find an old Rockman Corner post about 5 incredibly obscure Mega Man manga that were just preserved by Rockman Tanjo, including Continent of Mu, but the link to their blog leads to a deleted post, and the mega links for the 5 preserved comics are all dead as well. I can find more blog sites and forums for the group, but they've all been inactive for years. I also found some kind of site that keeps track of scanlation groups, which lists Rockman Tanjo as being active as late as 2022, but also lists the group as inactive. Also, very strangely, Rockman Saga of the Mu Continent, for those of you keeping track, that's now the 4th title for this same story, is the only release whose date is listed as unknown. What the hell is this thing? Rockman Tanjo, wherever you are, thank you. It's because of you that I can read this weird fucking story. But I think that's enough history. Let's actually finally read the manga I've been talking about this whole time. Mega Man, the story of the fight until you die on the large geographical region known as Mu. Our story cold opens with Stone Man and Mega Man fighting, with Stone Man welcoming Mega Man to their base on Mu. Mega Man demands to know where Wily is and promptly eats shit. In retaliation, he fires one shard shot at Stone Man, which eradicates him completely. Which, fair. This is how every fight in the comic ends up going, so strap in. We then rewind a bit to get some context. Earth is completely fucked. The planet is struck by a tsunami of unprecedented size, reportedly caused by the Earth's axis moving wildly out of place. I have a feeling that something terrible is gonna happen. Dude, it already has. Dr. Light storms in and claims that Mu has risen out of the Pacific, to everyone's surprise. Now, if you don't know, Mu, sometimes pronounced Mew, is a real... well, not real, it's a myth. It's a real myth. Mu is a real mythological concept proposed by total insane man Augustus Lee Plongeon. It's a total whack-job theory that the Pacific Ocean once housed a continent known as Mu, which later sunk into the ocean. I kind of assumed that it was another take on the Atlantis myth, but part of the Mu theory hinges on Atlantis also existing, which is really funny to me. There's a bunch of theories of Mu, including the idea that it was a hyper-advanced civilization and was populated by the ancestors of humanity and stuff, but mostly Mu is just used as the basis for fictional stories, because the idea is cool. The Mu Wikipedia page tells me that it was an illusion of Gaia. An Atlantis Scorpantis? What the fuck? But most notably, and not mentioned on the Mu Wikipedia page, is that the continent of Mu serves as a major plot point in Mega Man Star Force 2. Like, the entire game is about it, and it's where the climax of the game takes place. Mu then continues to be important into Star Force 3 because then they can involve the rival character introduced in Star Force 2 who is the last living remnant of Mu's people. And if I had to guess, this is the main reason Rockman Mu Tairiku Shitou Hen is so obscure and hard to research. It's because if you search for anything involving Mega Man and Mu, 100% of the results you get are for Star Force 2. Like, even looking up the exact Japanese name will get you 1 or 2 search results relating to the manga, and then every other result is just Star Force 2, which is agonizing. Okay, so, bit of a last-minute addition here. I mentioned a second ago that Star Force 2 wasn't on the Mu Wikipedia page, and that was true when I wrote the script, but I've been procrastinating on this video for so long that it got updated last month, and now I look stupid. Like I was saying before, Light storms in and claims that Mu has arisen from the ocean. Just like the myth, the continent was super advanced, apparently more so than modern day, which is crazy considering the Mega Man series is already set in the future. So that's like double futuristic. Dr. Light also claims that when Mu resurfaced, a great energy was released, which he thinks is what's causing all the havoc. I think the implication here is that the energy itself isn't causing chaos, but that someone is using it for evil, because the immediate next page shows Mega Man flying towards Mu, saying he's gonna stop Dr. Wily, who, of course, wasted no time claiming Mu for himself. Also, for some reason, Wily has this insane outfit. Wily's never really been shown to wear clothes like this, but I think the fit kinda goes crazy, so I like it for a one-off like this. It definitely pairs well with his declarations of becoming the new Emperor of Earth. We're also told that Dr. Light developed some kind of new power-up for Mega Man, although they don't really specify what. I don't know if this is just a translation issue, but I'm pretty sure the power-up is just that he's generally stronger, which Mega Man mentions later on. Although maybe the power-up is that Jet Adapter Mega Man can now fly over the entire ocean, while in the games you can only fly for a few seconds. Although if Mu is where the theory proposes it to be, it wouldn't be too far away from Japan. Unless Mega Man 8 is to be believed, and Light's lab is actually somewhere in the US. I feel like I'm getting sidetracked again. Also, minor detail which I might be overthinking, but Dr. Light says "forgive me" when he mentions Mega Man's new power-up. I like how even when he's giving Mega Man a power boost to make him better at fighting, he's apologetic, as if it was a necessary evil. It's important to remember that Mega Man, as a character, hates fighting, and only does so for the sake of peace, so I appreciate Inoue writing it so that Light apologizes here. It feels respectful to the source material. That's just how I read it anyways. Mega Man infiltrates the base and begins making his way through, jumping over a lava swamp and some blocks which I can only assume are the teleporting blocks from the games, when suddenly Mega Man hears a voice say, "I want peace." He stops to look around, but notes that it felt like the voice was speaking directly in his head. Before he can learn any more, however, he's jumped by Bomb Man. Mega dodges his attacks and hits him with one charge shot that eradicates him completely, which, fair. Mega Man also claims that, quote, "The reason you lost is because I already knew your tricks." But I'm pretty sure the reason Bomb Man actually lost is because he's Bomb Man. When Mega Man continues on, his readers detect an unlimited amount of energy before coming across a vibrant floating temple at the energy's center. Quote, "It must be a matter that's been solidified by the refraction of the magnetic energy field. It's a super-dimensional being." I have no clue what to make of this. Is he implying that the elaborate floating technology temple is a naturally forming phenomenon? I'd argue that that borders on supernatural, but we've already introduced disembodied voices, so I guess this isn't unbelievable. But this is one of the things where I would have really loved to see the original Japanese dialogue for myself. See if there was any other way to translate this that made a little bit more sense, or if it really is just this bananas. Mega Man uses the jet adapter to fly through the energy field. It takes everything he's got and the strength of his new power-up, but he makes it through and rushes onward. The entrance is blocked off, so he changes to the power adapter to break through. He also stops to grab the lucky life energy he just found. It always cracks me up when adaptations of video games keep the video gamey elements of the source material. Like, it's completely unnecessary for a comic book character to stop and look for health pickups or refer to villains as bosses, so whenever they do it, it makes me laugh. It probably serves as a weird kind of product placement. In this case, to remind Comic Bomb readers that Mega Man is a video game series, which you can buy right now for just $15. That's right, $15. You can have Peak in your home. Sorry, I don't know what that was. In a similar vein, I feel like this panel on the next page of Mega Man climbing a long ladder is intentionally referencing ladder climbing segments from the games, although that might be a bit of a stretch. The Archie comics had a few level design references throughout their run, which I always appreciated. Dr. Wily mocks Mega Man, who he's watching over camera footage, taunting that his next monster will destroy him. Meanwhile, the Earth falls into an even worse state than it was in before, and Dr. Light says that Mega Man is running out of time. Mega Man destroys Pharaoh Man, Crystal Man, and Star Man with little effort, but quickly hears the disembodied voice, once again asking for peace. Mega Man also gets a vision of planet Earth, but he just wonders if his IC chip is bugged and moves on. Also, the fan translation calls it a CI chip instead, but I feel like that has to be a mistranslation, because every time these chips are brought up in the series, they're consistently called IC, or Integrated Circuit Chips, not CI chips. But this is just a nitpick, and not any kind of criticism on my part. Mega Man gets ambushed by all the remaining Robot Masters. We then get 2 complete pages of Mega Man destroying all of them, and that's the end of that. I also want to say that I think it's kind of weird that some of the light numbers and Cossack numbers were used as antagonists when they should have been turned back to normal after their respective games. But I feel like there's never been a consistent answer to what happens to the bosses after they're defeated, and the games themselves never really elaborate outside of the Robot Museum in 7, so I'm just not going to think about it too hard. After Mega Man completely uses up all of his energy to defeat the Robot Masters, Wily reveals his newest creation, a massive robot that looks like it just stepped out of Dragon Ball. Wily calls it Mu's Ultimate Robot, which is powered by the unlimited energy that Mu gives off. Mega Man argues that if Mu's energy is continued to be misused, then there won't be any Earth left to rule. Wily claims that he doesn't care if Earth is destroyed, and that the continent has chosen Wily to be the second coming of Emperor Mu. This is wildly out of character motivation for Wily, and this, alongside his strange outfit, kind of makes me feel like Wily is possessed here, or that the energy is driving him insane. But this is never directly alluded to at all. I mean, who knows? It could just be that in this version of the character, Wily is just like this. We also get this crazy conversation where Wily says, "The energy of Mu has acknowledged my genius, and that is why it has released the spiritual magma that will purge this world that I will rule." And Mega Man responds with, "You're wrong. Those are the tears of lament of the Earth that cannot bear someone like you who disturbs the peace, and it is because that energy should be used for peace." This line feels like it's from Kingdom Hearts. It sounds like that one cut line from Star Wars.
But we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquilai or Soas, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. And I thought, who talks like this, George?
Mega Man blasts the robot, but can't do any damage. He's completely outmatched by Wily's robot, but before he can accept his fate, he hears the voice asking for peace again. Realizing that the voice is the voice of the Earth itself, Mega Man, and I'm not kidding, begs for the planet to lend him his energy, and just straight up goes Super Saiyan. It looks pretty badass. Wily says that if Mega Man releases that kind of energy, he'd end up destroying himself, but Mega Man fires anyway, calling his attack the final Super Mega Buster, and completely destroys Wily's robot. Wily runs away as expected. This whole scene kind of feels very similar to the ending scene in Super Adventure Rockman, where Mega Man goes double buster mode. The energy released from Mega Man's attack surrounds the entire planet, and Mega Man is shown to have been protected by some kind of energy barrier. Dr. Light shows up to explain that the Earth itself must have been protecting him. Also, Roll finally says her first words. Dr. Light mentions how the Earth's axis fixed itself and the natural disasters have stopped. It's unclear if that means the catastrophic damage was undone, because cities were destroyed and we straight up see somebody drowning in a previous panel. But for the moment, Mega Man, Roll, and Dr. Light stare out at the calming ocean. The Earth is alive. So, would I recommend reading Rockman Mu Tairiku Shitohen? I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? I just read you the whole thing. But if you did like it, I could recommend the other Rockman works by Daisuke Inoue. The one that feels the most similar to this one is Rockman Mirai Wakusei Voldosen, or roughly Mega Man Future Planet Voldos Arc. And in general, I would recommend searching out more obscure Mega Man media, especially if you're already a big fan of the series. It definitely wouldn't hurt to get more eyes on this type of thing, especially since the more people we have talking about them, the easier it should be to find this kind of stuff. The main reason I wanted to make this video was because, like I said earlier, this one-off manga isn't mentioned anywhere on the Mega Man knowledge base, which is the one place where people should be able to learn about stuff like this. I was worried that this manga would become so obscure that it would just end up disappearing from the internet completely. The Mega Man series means the world to me, and the idea that a part of it could just become lost like that, frankly, kinda terrifies me. And this extends beyond the Mega Man series too. If you like a series, if you really like a series, then you should search its history and see what you can find. Explore the strange spin-offs and the weird odysseys. Anything and everything you can find. Because you might find something incredible. You might find something you've never seen before. Or most of all, you might find something that's just really fucking weird and fun to talk about.